Usually when we look at history or, archaeology, we expect solid ground. You dig a trench, you find a clay pot, you run a test on it, and you categorize it.
Right, it's tangible.
Exactly, it's measurable. The past sits safely behind museum glass, completely separated from our modern reality.
And that physical record is, well, it's the bedrock of modern science. We crave that predictability. A recovered artifact is either a Bronze Age tool or it isn't. We build our whole understanding of human progress on things we can actually touch and verify.
But what happens when you step off that solid ground? Like, what happens when you enter an ancient, isolated space that was specifically engineered to stay sealed, and suddenly the laws of physics just start crumbling away?
That is the terrifying question, yeah.
Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is to dissect a narrative that completely obliterates that comfortable scientific baseline. We are pulling from a single, deeply chilling source. It's an excerpt titled The House of Silence, The Pyramid Excavator, from the English Exchange podcast.
Which is just a masterclass in psychological tension. I mean, we're looking at the terrifying friction between this impenetrable, materialistic worldview and an environment that actively defies, every metric we use to define reality.
Yeah, and to really grasp the gravity of this, you have to understand the man at the center of the narrative. We're following a 2018 archaeological expedition led by Daniel Mercer.
Right, and he's not some ghost hunter.
Not at all. Daniel is a highly respected veteran archaeologist, over 2 decades of grueling, hands-on experience in the Middle East. To him, ancient curses, supernatural guardians, they're just campfire myths.
Just stories invented by ancient cultures to explain natural events they didn't have the science for yet?
Precisely. His baseline is absolute materialism.
If it can't be measured or replicated in a lab, it's discarded.
It's kind of like, think about the veteran IT professional at your office. You tell them your laptop is haunted because it keeps glitching out or opening files.
They just roll their eyes at you.
Yeah, they fundamentally reject the premise. They demand a logical mechanism. It's a failing motherboard, right?
Yeah.
Or malware. There is always a tangible reason. And Daniel approaches a 3,000-year-old tomb with that exact same mindset.
Which is precisely why his eventual unraveling is so compelling. A flexible mind can bend, but a fiercely logical mind like Daniel's, it doesn't bend. It shatters.
It really does. And the catalyst for that is the specific environment he walks into. It's the spring of 2018. Daniel joins an excavation far west of the Nile River. And listener, if you're picturing the Great Pyramid with tour buses and selfie sticks, erase that.
Yeah, this is not a tourist trap.
No, this is a forgotten, damaged ruin, completely alone in an ocean of sand. During the day, it's baking over 40 degrees Celsius. At night, it plunges into freezing temperatures, and underneath all of it is this heavy, absolute silence. You're completely disconnected.
The human brain just isn't built to maintain equilibrium in that kind of sensory extreme. The isolation strips away your normal cognitive anchors before you even, put a shovel in the dirt.
Right. So in this desolate landscape, satellite scans reveal a hidden structure buried beneath the sands. The dig begins. For the first week, it's business as usual. But on the 7th day, a worker uncovers a sealed stone doorway.
And this wasn't meant to be a grand entrance.
No, it's hermetically sealed. And covering the stone are these aggressive, unfamiliar symbols mixed with traditional hieroglyphs. They clearly read as a warning. And the intimidation factor is so high that a local worker actually refuses to continue digging.
He cites a village legend, right?
Yeah, he calls it the House of Silence and insists that anyone who crosses the threshold will fundamentally cease to be themselves.
Wow.
Okay, let's unpack this, because looking at it from a modern perspective, isn't Daniel's reaction to just ignore the worker totally justified? I mean, ancient people use psychological warfare like curses to deter grave robbers all the time. Why should a scientist take a village ghost story seriously?
What's fascinating here is, from an archaeological standpoint, fear was a high...
Right, if you can't afford armed guards forever.
Exactly. You convince the locals their blood will boil if they go near the door. So Daniel sees a keep out sign covered in curses, and his experience translates that to, there is something of immense value behind this rock.
He sees it as validation. It sets up this strict logical baseline, but that logic only holds up until they actually breach the doorway 2 days later.
Right, because then the environment begins actively attacking that scientific framework.
The moment the stone gives way, this shocking rush of freezing cold air violently escapes into the 40-degree desert heat.
Which is an immediate anomaly.
Yeah, it's pressurized. So they turn on their flashlights and descend these narrow stone stairs into a dusty passage. The walls are covered in faded paintings of figures and unusual masks. But the disturbing part, Every single face has been intentionally scratched away.
Oh man, that is a very specific act of defacement.
Centuries ago, yeah.
In ancient Egyptian theology, your image and name were tied to your afterlife. To aggressively erase a face from a tomb, that's an attempt to annihilate their soul entirely. It's a post-mortem execution. They were just burying someone. They were trying to delete them from reality.
That's chilling. So they finally emerge into the circular chamber underground, and the sound is completely muted. In the center sits this massive, black stone sarcophagus. The lid alone must weigh several tons. But the detail that stops Daniel in his tracks is that it is completely blank.
No markings at all.
Nothing. No names, no prayers, no stories of the dead. Just a giant blank monolith.
That's an incredible architectural anomaly. You're dealing with a culture obsessive about documenting the journey to the underworld. To leave a massive black sarcophagus entirely blank turns it into an anti-monument.
It communicates containment.
Exactly. The person inside is not meant to be remembered. They're meant to be kept in the dark.
And this is where things escalate. Daniel starts having recurring dreams. He hears faint whispers coming from inside the stone. He wakes up drenched in sweat. Then things start happening while they're awake. Heavy equipment vanishes. Batteries drain inexplicably.
And phantom footsteps, right?
Yeah. Workers hear footsteps outside their tents, but there are no footprints in the sand.
And Daniel's reaction here is crucial. He is frantically trying to shove these events into logical buckets.
Right, like the extreme temperatures are draining the batteries.
The wind is playing tricks on their ears. He's actively defending his worldview.
But here's where it gets really interesting. The phenomena refuse to stay in those logical buckets because they start showing up on camera.
Oh, this part is wild.
Every picture taken inside that chamber features this dark, changing shadow near the sarcophagus. When Daniel finally enlarges a photo on his laptop, it's not a smudge. It's a tall, thin, motionless human figure just watching them.
Just standing there.
Yeah. But let me play the skeptic again. Couldn't the cold air just be a weird geological draft? And the shadow, couldn't that just be dust on the lens or a trick of the lighting? Our brains are wired to see human shapes in random patterns, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's pareidolia, seeing patterns where none exist. And Daniel desperately clings to that. He tells himself it's a matrixing error on the camera sensor combined with exhaustion.
Because jumping at a shadow costs nothing, evolutionarily speaking.
Right. But the sheer volume of these anomalies, the mechanical failures, auditory hallucinations, visual glitches, it creates a compound effect. It's slowly chipping away at his scientific armor.
And while you can explain away a shadow on a laptop, it's much harder to explain away what happens when you physically touch the remains.
This is the climax of the excavation.
They use heavy machinery to slide the lid off. A foul odor fills the room. Inside is a perfectly preserved, unusually large body. It's wrapped in dark linen, which isn't traditional. Hands crossed over the chest, wearing this strange metal pendant.
An untouched burial. The impulse for an archaeologist to examine it just overrides all caution.
So Daniel touches the pendant. Instantly, all the lights die.
Total blackout.
Pitch black. Someone screams. There's panic until the emergency lights kick on. The mummy is in the same place, but its head has turned. It is now looking directly at Daniel.
Just staggering cognitive dissonance. You're looking at a biological impossibility. The tendons of a 3,000-year-old corpse cannot facilitate movement.
And the source text points out that one researcher nervously laughs it off, suggesting they just remembered the head's position incorrectly.
Wow. Talk about denial.
Right. It's like gaslighting yourself. Like when you lock your keys in the car and you can see them on the seat, but you convince yourself you left them on the kitchen counter because the alternative is too frustrating to accept.
Yes. It's a profound psychological defense. The mind prioritizes its own structure over empirical evidence. It's safer to believe your memory is flawed than to accept the impossible as real.
Well, the universe decides to crush that defense anyway. That night, a violent sandstorm hits. Visibility drops to feet. And Daniel hears a voice over the wind calling, "Daniel!"
From the pyramid.
From the pyramid. He follows it and sees a tall, motionless silhouette, but it vanishes as he approaches.
So the containment has failed. It's bleeding into the camp.
Completely. The next morning, a worker is found miles away, deeply shaken. He claims a man in an ancient mask. The exact mask scratched off the walls led him into the desert.
Clarifying.
He quits immediately. Half the team flees. The camp is completely divided between rumors of a curse versus toxic hallucinatory gases.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, isolation and fear cause mass panic all the time. But that toxic gas theory, That is the ultimate crutch for a logical mind. When people experience shared terror, the scientific mind will literally invent an undetectable, mind-altering gas rather than concede to the supernatural.
He desperately needs a physical cause, and that desperate search leads him right back to the chamber alone. He wants proof, and he finds it, just not the kind he wanted.
He finds the hidden text, right?
Yeah. Behind a damaged wall panel, he discovers translatable ancient writings. It reveals the tomb belongs to a powerful priest buried alive for forbidden rituals, and the warning is explicit. The priest's spirit is trapped until disturbed. Anyone who awakens him becomes his eyes, ears, and path back into the world.
So it's an active trap.
The terrified remaining team decides to seal the chamber and flee, but as they're working, a support beam collapses. Daniel is trapped alone beneath tons of stone.
Total nightmare scenario.
His flashlight flickers. In the freezing dark, he hears those whispers from his dreams. But now they are speaking English. The voice says, "You opened the door. You woke me."
Oh, man.
Slow footsteps approach and stop right beside him. Suffocating silence. When his light returns, the chamber is empty. The sarcophagus is open and the mummy is gone.
The physical body is just gone.
But wait a second, I have to ask. The ghost speaks English. How does an ancient Egyptian priest buried thousands of years ago speak modern English? Isn't that the point where a skeptic says, okay, I'm definitely hallucinating from lack of oxygen?
This raises an important question, yeah.
Yeah.
Because on the surface, it sounds absurd. But if we look at the mythology established by the text, the entity uses the awakener's own mind as its path back to the world.
Oh, I see.
It's not vibrating the air to speak English. It's translating its intent directly into Daniel's consciousness. It's using Daniel's own neurological pathways, his own language against him.
So it's not a ghost speaking English, it's Daniel's brain acting as the translation software for a psychic intrusion.
Exactly. The parasitic assimilation is already happening.
So Daniel survived the cave-in physically. Rescue workers pull him out hours later unconscious. The official report conveniently blames dehydration and stress.
Of course they do. Got to put it in a logical box.
Right. The excavation is permanently shut down, authorities stay quiet, and the site is literally sealed with concrete.
But pouring concrete over a door doesn't fix what was already let out.
No, it doesn't. Because Daniel returns home, but mentally he never escaped the House of Silence. He becomes withdrawn, unable to sleep. He claims someone is always watching outside his window. And months later, he vanishes from his apartment.
No struggle.
No struggle at all. The only thing left behind is a notebook on his desk with a single sentence written repeatedly over dozens of pages. The House of Silence was never meant to be opened.
Wow. Just a complete unraveling of a brilliant mind.
So what does this all mean? Was it extreme PTSD and a psychological breakdown, or did history fail to capture a much darker reality?
It forces us to confront our own skepticism. When the physical world betrays you, what are you left with?
And listener, I want you to think about that warning from the text. The one who awakens the priest becomes his eyes, ears, and path back into the world. If that's true, ponder this. What if Daniel didn't just disappear or run away out of fear? What if the reason there was no sign of struggle in his apartment is because the entity didn't come to take him? It simply finished assimilating him.
Oh, that's incredibly unsettling.
Perhaps Daniel Mercer is still out there, walking among us, serving as the very vessel that brought the House of Silence back into our world.
The ultimate subversion, right. Instead of the archaeologist pulling the past into light, the past used the archaeologist to escape it.
Exactly. Stay curious, listener, but perhaps ensure you leave some doors firmly closed. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.